Good starlight travellers, it's your friend Clarnax 342, or as they called me back in 2019, Clark. Anyway, today we're going to talk about the novel 1984 by George Orwell. The story of a futuristic society where the government takes full control, led by a mysterious leader called Big Brother. Jokes on Orwell, because that didn't actually happen in real life until 2131. The story follows Winston Smith, a worker at the Ministry of Truth, where they rewrite historical records to fit whatever narrative the government is trying to put out. It's the same thing that hackers tried to do with the Cleveland Browns to say that they've won the Super Bowl when we all know that hasn't happened in 500 years because they absolutely suck. Winston sees a girl at work that he's attracted to, but he doesn't trust her because he believes she is a plant for the government. Winston starts to realize that he does not trust the government, which makes him a thought criminal. And oh my god, you guys, have you seen season 300 of Law and Order Thought Police? I totally binge watched it on the weekend. But anyway, back to the story. Winston buys a diary from an antique store to write his criminal thoughts. I know you were probably used to seeing ancient tech there like iPads at antique stores, but back then they had things like lamp and teapots and diaries, all this weird junk that I can't even pronounce or I don't even know what the purpose was for. Winston's supervisor, O'Brien, is a member of the inner party, and Winston begins to suspect that he's a member of the resistance, looking to take the government from within. Back at work, Winston's crush, Julia, hands him a little love note that says, "I love you." Winston and Julia begin an affair in secret. They have to because all sex must be for reproduction. And I know what you're thinking, of course sex isn't for reproduction. That's what the growth pods are for. I can't even explain this. It makes no sense to me at all. O'Brien finally approaches Winston with a chance to join the resistance called the Brotherhood. Winston and Julia pledge their allegiance and read about how the party can be overthrown if the working class rises up and works together. It's revealed that the antique store owner is an agent of the Thought Police and he turns Winston and Julia in. They are separated and tortured until they toe the party line, with O'Brien revealed as another secret double agent for the party. He must convince Winston that 2 + 2 = 5, a theorem that would not be proved until the hologram of Albert Einstein solved it in the 2250s. Winston thinks that he has still held tough because he never sold Julia out, but the final torture exposes him to his greatest fear of rats by sticking a cage of them on his head. That's disgusting. And to note, rats were these things that became extinct a few hundred years ago, and they kind of look like little dogs or giant ants, but they're totally more disgusting and yuck. Winston tells them to send the ugly rats to Julia, and they know that he has been broken. He's released back into the world, no longer feeling anything toward Julia. Ice cold. Even worse, he now supports Big Brother. Ultimately, the lesson is that we can only allow the government to become so powerful or we will not be allowed to think for ourselves. Well, good thing that would never happen to us today because we almost have democracy perfection with 99% of people supporting the government. It's so weird that back then they didn't even let teenagers vote. They didn't even get a vote mitzvah or anything. That's it for another blast from the past. Tune in next week for another literary classic from millennia ago.